I know it's popular opinion to have a go at Sonic, but not all of his 3D games are bad. I mean, Sonic Generations really proved to me that a game can actually be fun from start to finish, without the need for unnecessary gimmicks. I couldn't tell you how many times I wanted to smash the Wii remote every time I played as the Werehog. I mean, that's not to say there's not bad games in the series. I mean, Sonic 2006 and the recent Sonic Boom for the Wii U in particular are truly terrible. But you know what, every now and again there's still a game worth playing, and then there's sort of games which are sort of in the middle, and that's where we come into this one. Sonic Lost Worlds was originally a Wii U exclusive in 2003 during Nintendo's free game exclusive deal with Sega. Now, I don't own a Wii U, so naturally I was a little bit annoyed about this, but Sega seemed to like the digital distribution nature of the PC market these days, and eventually decided to port the game to Windows in late 2015. The game is a 3D platformer where you control Sonic as you try to get to the end of the level. There are 4 acts in each stage, and 2 bosses in each zone. The main gimmick here is that the game has the same cylinder style levels that are used in Mario Galaxy, with Sonic able to run right around a sphere, or a world in this case. Ultimately, it comes across as a much better developed concept of the failed Sega Saturn game Sonic Xtreme, which was going to use a fisheye lens and rotating levels. Overall, there's a great deal of variety in the levels, with it switching constantly between the side-scrolling and 3D mechanics. Now, the game plays a little bit differently to other Sonic games, and not necessarily for the better. For one, Sonic now has a run button. I didn't actually realise this existed until about the 2nd or the 3rd level. I thought this Sonic was just slower in this game. I'm not sure why this is necessary, because ever since the invention of the analog stick, this should no longer be a thing, but Sega unnecessarily put this in. Sonic also has a jump and a kick move, of which certain bosses and enemies require you to use one or the other, which confused the heck out of me until I realised there was a difference between the two, because ultimately if you use a jump in one occasion you may just bounce off, where if you use a kick you'll be successful. And of course the game doesn't tell you, you have to sort of experiment. The last thing I mention is that when the game moves to a 2D perspective, Sonic doesn't seem to jump as far anymore. If you compare this to Sonic Generations, which I hold in high regard, then it tends to lose horizontal speed very quickly whilst jumping, meaning you can often misjudge a gap which you thought you could reach, leading to a lot of cheap deaths. Now, the Wisps do make a return from Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, and they were pretty pointless in Sonic Generations, to be perfectly honest, other than being this, well, they only really appeared in the Sonic Colors level, so I suppose they make sense there. Now, they do return offering Sonic a bunch of special powers. However, it just seems like they've been forced into the last minute because it was a good gimmick in the previous games. They seem rather circumstantial at times, and I would have preferred them just not to be here. Overall, the mechanics are just different to earlier games, but you do work once you get far into the game. You do sort of get used to it, but it does seem that Sega sort of have overcomplicated their controls for their own good. There's just too many buttons. That's really the thing here you got to take away from this. You can get used to it, but ultimately they should have cut it down a little bit. Overall, Sonic Lost World is not a bad game. It is nowhere near as bad as some of the other Sonic games being churned out recently. Of course, I've mentioned Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, to name but 2. It has a few problems, sure, and I didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as Sonic Generations, but it does have some colourful visuals, some cool music, and some very interesting level designs, which make it an interesting spin-off game in the Sonic universe that's well worth a spin. Now, this particular video is just me playing through 2 of the special unlockable areas. If you collect all the red stars in some of the levels, then some of these extra areas begin to appear on the main map. Now, following this, I will be uploading a full walkthrough of the 7 zones in the game, the special zone right at the end, and the DLC, which is free with the PC version. So feel free to look out for these videos when they eventually arrive, which will be sometime later this week. But for the meanwhile, if you like this video, feel free to subscribe, otherwise we'll just get on with the rest of the video.